responsibility and leadership in as far as helping them realize their better livelihood standards. And they're looking up to your actions and how your actions are really contributing towards achieving their lifestyles. And I think that's really, really important. The other premise that we also rise to comment on the budget is we recognize that youth are not a homogeneous population, they are a heterogeneous population. And we invite you to look at our broader youth policy, youth budget paper that I highlight things like even the disability components to some of the key government programs like the youth livelihood programs, and the detailed bit of it of what is in there, how much has been given to the program, what are the challenges that require policy attention and within the budget. So I just wanted to really flag that. And now straight to some of our issues. Now we raise some of the critical issues. Number one, we look at the youth livelihood program. In our analysis of the budget, we note that it's not a fully funded program as per the commitment. As you remember, when this program was being rolled, there was a commitment by government to give it close to about 265 billion. In actual sense, it meant that every year they had to allocate 53 billion. But as of now, Ministry of Finance has really commented that they don't have money. And if you look at the funding gap, this program is not getting over 17.75 billion, which is really a challenge. That out of what the government is supposed to give them in terms of commitment, there is a funding gap of 17.75 billion. That partly explains the delay in disbursing these monies to some of the groups, to some of the districts. And yet ideally these monies are supposed to be rolled out to the entire country. We feel that government has really not met its policy intention to finance the program. We acknowledge with great appreciation that this program has contributed a great deal towards helping young people, kickstart entrepreneurial initiatives. But the fact that government really took up a responsibility that it has not fully realized, we really acknowledge and call upon government to respond. And in our recommendation, we send a message that government should come up with alternative ways of employing youth, such as strengthening the already vocational schools and also looking at providing more monies to these programs. Because we've come to realize that there's no single, there's no straight jacket solution to addressing key issues of employability. So we need to look broader, where we can get more monies to really address the funding gap, but also look at the other alternative purpose-driven solutions like the President really acknowledged in today's daily monitor. The second issue we note in this budget framework paper is the lack of youth policy and action plan. Honorable members of Parliament and the delegates of this room, we would wish to also note that the youth sector has not had a policy for the last 10 years. The policy that they have is outdated from 2001. So you can imagine from 2001, there are so many things that have changed. ICT and so many emerging challenges have come out. But we need a policy that can address these real-time issues. And without a policy, without an action plan, I don't know what we are prioritizing. I don't know what we are aligning in terms of development programming or in terms of development thinking. And we know that policies are critical in terms of providing guidance so that we can realize these rational outcomes that we intend to see in helping out this population contribute towards our broader economy. The policy that is in place, like I said, is that of 2001. The issues have been overtaken by events. So the lack of the national youth policy to respond to the current context, to the current issues and the action plan to operationalize it is really putting the youth behind. That's why we are now running. Whenever you think about the youth, you're just firefighting because maybe you're looking at youth as a problem to be fair, but you don't have a concrete strategy or policy to address them. We recommend that there is need to fast-track the youth policy and the action plan in reality with the current challenges affecting the young people and also allocate more funding to operationalize the plan. Our third issue is that we've noted with concern in the so many budgets we've been analyzing courtesy of the CS Bank space is that the National Youth Council is supposed to be a separate, a semi-autonomous entity. But we note with concern that the National Youth Council still receives money under the broader vote of the Ministry of Gender. And yet, agencies like the Equal Opportunity Commission are already, receiving separate votes. Because of the insufficient funding to finance the National Youth Council, they cannot effectively play their constitutional responsibilities of mobilizing, engaging young people, providing linkages, coordination, support, and also oversight as far as government programs is concerned. And that partly explains why the National Youth Council is redundant. People are looking at them as a political tool, and many have actually looked at them as more of an active structure as we get towards election. We note with concern that they're supposed to be receiving 1 billion, but we've noted that for the last, if you go behind 3 budgets, they've been getting 600 million out of the 1 billion that they're supposed to receive as a special interest, segment. In the previous budgets, part of their money was given to the traditional leaders. So you can imagine how demeaning that is within the youth sector. So we are saying that the MPs need to focus on creating a separate board for the National Youth Council for them to recruit more and skill more staff, but also importantly implement the Act as required by the constitutional responsibility that they hold. The other youth employment. Government of Uganda has come up with, we don't have a youth policy, but government of Uganda has come up with the action plan under the support of ILO. But we also know that this action plan has not been approved, and that this action plan does not have a certificate of financial implication. So you cannot start resolving issues of youth unemployment without having a blueprint. So that means you're going to just firefight as usual, because you need to look at young people as an asset that would really kickstart this economy. So if you don't have a plan, or if you have a plan but it has not been approved, it doesn't have a costed, financial aspect to it, then where is your government commitment, or where is your responsibility? And I think as MPs, you need to realize that this is a crucial population, it's a voting population, it's a segment, it's an asset, so you need to play your constitutional responsibilities in responding to some of these issues. Like we say that the Ministry of Gender should fast track the approval of the National Action Plan on help young people realize most of their livelihood-related dreams. But as my senior mentor did note, Julius, that if you look at the local government piece of the current budget framework paper, we don't have any monies going to local governments. But remember, these are places where young people are. Over 60% in every district, in every constituency, are young people. So if you're not going to commit that money within those local government spaces, and you're going to keep money within the center, then are you really responding to the key issues of young people? And I think that's really a critical issue. And we've also noted with so many, with great concern, that there are no targets for youth. If it's a government program and it's not really creating a specific target space for young people, then what are you doing? So we're saying that government has to ring-fence allocation of youth-based projects under the NADS, increase youth productivity and also incomes, and most importantly, we need to consider more than 50% of the welfare programs that are agriculture-related. If you look at the youth livelihood programs, 50% of these programs are agriculture-related programs. So if you're not committing money to extension services, then who is going to provide assistance and technical advisory support for these young people who have got money? And remember, these are loans. So they need to get people to advise them so that they can have better yields, so that they can have better sales to pay back the money. So if you pull out the extension piece, if you pull out the NADS support piece from the local government, and you're leaving young people who are already getting monies from the YLP support without any extension advice, without anyone supporting them, then you're leaving them hungry, and no one is really responding to them. I just want to conclude by noting that youth is a population. So whatever happens in NADS, if you don't provide monies to local governments, then that means you're not responding to the broader population issues. If you fail to pay salaries to the health sector, in as far as the health workers are concerned, statistics have shown that close to 62% of our doctors, clinical officers, nurses are below the age of 30 years. And you're going to donate these teachers and nurses to Trinidad and Tobago. What are you doing? Education. If you reduce capitation grants, that means that you're going to affect quality of education. So that means you're going to affect quality of the products that emerge out of the education system. So that means that the end product of the education system will be of poor quality, then that means that employability will always be a challenge as far as our broader economy is concerned. Thank you very much.